little spillage.
You know, right before the episode, what else would happen?
One of us spilling? Never heard of it.
Never heard of
Cheers.
it. Little tequila shot.
I knew.
Tequila to orange. Hey-o. Whew.
That's not our first and it won't be our last.
Amen.
Let's get into it. All right, snitches, welcome back to another episode of We Want Gossip with Meredith and Steph. We are finally back this week. Believe me, we have not recorded one, but two episodes, full episodes prior to this one. And we have an excuse for a couple of the weeks in between with our hiatus.
I mean, it's called Where...
Did we even test this? It's not.
We haven't even tried. My God.
Any Hoosers.
Why not?
Sorry about that, Beth Ann. So this is not, once again, the first technical difficulties that we've had.
Too many to count.
And you'd think that we'd be, like, veterans at this thing, because we've been burnt too many times with recording, and it either deleting, the software that we're editing it on isn't working, you know. And then we also had some health scares.
No. You know. Well, first off, I mean, like, guys, the last time we talked to you, we're like, we can't wait for Bachelorettes to start, and now it's over. So, scratch the season. We're going to catch back up with Bachelor in Paradise, okay?
I mean, honestly.
But believe me, we've been watching, okay?
If you think there's a lack of opinions on this side of the house, you're wrong. We don't have to go into the details, the nitty-gritty, because we've done that for 2 episodes prior to this.
I mean, literally 2 full
They
breakdowns.
deleted, so honestly, we're gonna just, like, if you don't listen to Bachelor or anything like that, it's like, believe me, you could easily jump into this, because we're gonna breeze through it, and we're gonna get to more pressing issues.
Yes. So, let's get into it.
Okay, we have a gossip update. Little breaky break.
No problem.
We just got started. All me and Meredith have been doing for the past
hours.
3-4 hours have been, like, literally just shooting the shit right here. As if, I mean, we should look up our timing the past couple of days.
No.
Us being, like, remote workers right now, all of a sudden, it's like our FaceTime record of hours spent on the phone, we talk every single day.
Well, because we're used to syncing up in the office. But
Right.
it's like, just because I don't see your ass in person doesn't mean I'm not FaceTiming you every single morning. And I feel like I'm the annoying boyfriend because it's like I'm constantly... 10 o'clock rolls around, I go, let me contact my girlie.
10 a.m., if I haven't received a call from Meredith, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. We've got to fill you guys in on where the hell we've been.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, just tell them.
So, okay. What first started the hiatus was I randomly was allergic to all the shit that's in shampoo, conditioner, body wash, sunscreen, you name it, I'm allergic.
You can't pronounce the name of this chemical.
No, it's like polyglucose, whatever. I wasn't looking like myself. I wasn't feeling like myself.
You
I
guys.
wasn't at the office. Steph can attest. I looked like I literally got bit by 1,000 bees. Stung by 1,000 bees, I should say.
No, it was
alarming.
You guys, to the point where it's like, no, I understand, to where it's like we obviously aren't doing the podcast to record ourselves, because it's like, I mean.
Oh, yeah. But it's like, this isn't an acne flare-up, people. This is swollen city.
It literally looked like, to where we were all genuinely concerned for her health. Like, all out of nowhere. Her face was so swollen, like 1,000 bees stung her.
Yeah.
I mean, unrecognizable.
Oh.
And, like, her eyes, like, you couldn't even see her eyes. They were so swollen. Literally, what is it? Will Smith and Hitch.
Yes.
When he, like, has an allergic reaction and his face is fucked up. Like, that was Meredith.
Yeah.
And it was weeks. So, I feel like if we're blessed to where, like, we don't really have, like, chronic acne. You know, we never really have. No. But, like, we obviously, you know, everybody gets acne.
Standard acne.
Little bit of acne here and there. And I can't imagine, like, how I feel when I get the smallest little blemish. I don't want to go into public, even though we live in Colorado and we don't know anybody here. So the best thing is that we get to go to the store and nobody knows us. So we can go however we, like, are looking. But when I have, like, one minor inconvenience of my face, I'm, like, so embarrassed to go in public.
Oh, I didn't
This shit, no wonder we didn't record for weeks. Because we also didn't have answers. So then she did the patch testing.
Oh, that was I was a burn victim out here. They taped all this shit to my back. I mean, it was like, and obviously it was 90 different things that like potentially could be causing this allergy attack. And it's like, so naturally all of those things on my back are thus causing my face to be crazy.
A million needles in your back that were duct taped shut. Not allowed to shower for, 48 hours.
Yeah.
Then had to go get take off the patches, see what it is. And it's only going to get more inflamed. Well, and then thank God though, because we really didn't know if this patch testing would even find the answers, because we're going through everything that she has ingested or put on her in weeks. And it is...
Right,
you guys, I can't even explain. We can't even put the photo because it's unrecognizable and it's really bad. But thank God that they figured out that it was potentially this chemical that's in all of your body things you're putting on in the shower, your face wash.
This is a warning to everybody, because it's not like I had this allergen and I've been allergic to this. What caused this allergic reaction was overuse. And it's not because I'm taking a billion showers a day, but I've been using the same products that have the same ingredients for years.
And products that were all us girls and boys using.
I'm using Dove body wash and literally Shea Moisture.
But it's all it ended up being certain flavors of each brand. Some brands in total, but some it was certain flavors.
Right.
You can only get this kind of coconut. You can't have the milky honeydew.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm Shea Moisture, I was using their conditioner, but it wasn't the right conditioner. It's still their brand, but that brand has that product, so I have to use this one. So I bought all new products. I dropped $300 buying. I mean everything, shampoos, conditioner, body wash. I've got all new stuff for mine, laundry, kitchen, everything. But so I've been on the come up. I've been doing good. I've been everything. I went for a long bike ride with my boyfriend this past weekend, and
it's been weeks, to where she hasn't had the full where you can't see her eyeballs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Mary goes, so I did a little hiccup here.
Yeah, and it's when they gave me the sheets of you're allergic to this, and they did say specifically if you come into contact with this, it will severely set you back. You do not want to come into contact with shit that has this stuff in it.
Because it doesn't matter how long you have recovered from your flare-up, this will just send it even further, and it takes a while.
Right, I can't even believe I have makeup on right now. Honestly, you guys can't tell now, but so over the weekend on Saturday, Brett and I went for a bike ride, and I'm looking through my sunscreens, and it's
I can't believe you did it. I can't believe you did. I'd rather you get the sunburn.
That's what I should have done. Is I really weighed the consequences, because I'm at this point I haven't had a flare up in a long time.
Yeah, so you were living it good and easy breezy. Yeah, she was living it too high.
I was thinking I was fine, and I'm okay, let me just try the sunscreen. Really, I woke up Sunday morning swollen. My eyes were all heavy. I mean, I'm still recovering. I'm sure you can tell, close up.
Oh, yeah.
The textures
little textures here and there.
Yeah. Because, that's, one of the things is, it's not pimples where it's, but it's,
hives.
bumps.
It's hives.
It's, hives on your face.
And so then it's, the swollen factor.
Yeah. So, I'm, Sunday I woke up super swollen, but at least now the swollen's going down. I put some makeup on it. But, my whole makeup routine changed everything. All the makeup products I can use, all the stuff that's in that is in this. So I'm it's been a whole ordeal.
We're 25. Why are we acting like we're aging?
That's what I'm saying. But they were that's why, when dermatologists, everything, it's just because you've used it your whole life or haven't been allergic to it your whole life, you are now.
But it's not even an easy thing that you can really find products, because it does have a million names and it's hard to read. And the page that she, this huge flyer they gave her document or to make sure her products, it's pages long of words that we don't know. We can't pronounce the words on these pages.
When I was picking out my new products, I would copy and paste the brand and then put it into Amazon and then buy it through Amazon, because it's you can't look for this stuff at the store. It's so hard to find. However, I will say I have a new respect for people that have had chronic acne or anything. I didn't leave my house. I mean, it was
I
one,
get it, of
painful, and two, embarrassing and so to your face.
Totally.
But also the other thing that I've become really insightful with is how much shit they put in our products.
Where I go, let me know if you're liking products that don't have all of these extra shit in it. Where it's the detergent, it doesn't have to be blue.
Right,
that's concerning. And if anything, the blue shit, if anything, screws me over, because if my washer isn't working right, it's now everything's stained with the blue detergent. It's sweet, we don't need the dyes.
Well, and also just the sheer amount of ingredients. My laundry detergent right now has got 5 ingredients, and I still have my old Tide Pods compared to my free and clear ones. And it's the ingredients are so much longer. Yeah. I mean, 40 ingredients compared to 5.
Could be a blessing in disguise. We're past the physical reaction.
Shit, but I'm I've never been one to care about stuff like that. So now it's like I'm super hyper aware, but also like, you know, with me with the sunscreen where I'm like, it'll be fine. It's
real quick, because you were doing so well that it was like, what's a little bit gonna hurt? No. And you're lucky that it's even subsided.
Minorly.
Because this, I mean, they've even said like it could flare back up for months and months and months.
Yeah.
So like, listen. I mean, I don't know if we've drilled into you enough so far.
No,
like,
I mean, after the
intensity.
sunscreen situation, I'm definitely not trying anything else.
Yeah. So that's why, you know, multiple weeks were missing between our episodes.
Yes.
And then we
filmed.
Because Meredith had like a nice, you know, it
calmed down.
The reaction subsided.
Yes.
And we brought in our cutie little intern, the girl we work with, Leia. She's in a couple of our other vlogs. She's into Bachelor too. So we recorded the whole episode about Bachelor.
Yep.
Deleted, didn't work.
Fully edited, ready to go. I was just trying to upload it. Me and Steph were trying to like brainstorm, why isn't this working, whatever. So the whole episode was gone.
Did it a second time, same exact thing.
So we're in the process.
It will be,
moving on.
I mean, a blessing if we literally get this episode up. But either way, in this meantime as well, me and Meredith have gone to Chicago. We have some crazy story times for that.
Yeah, which we did.
I don't know if we
vlog, but we didn't really explain everything. Long story short, Steph did a citizen's arrest. It helped a poor girl. Mm-hmm. This man was attacking her, and Steph said, "Get your hands off of her!" I mean, right here, savior.
It was quite the moment, and during our vlog we always kept saying like, okay, in the next scene we'll
explain this.
We'll sum it up, and we have explained this in all of these videos that we've done so far that have been deleted. So for the third fucking time, here it is, real quick. Basically, me and Meredith were before an event. We're having lunch. We flew in. We're having lunch in like right in Chicago, right off like Michigan Street.
Restaurant.
Cute little patio, but we're like sharing a patio basically with the sidewalk. So we're people watching, just me and Mare. And you know, this poor young girl, like around our age, has her bags, her purses, her phone, everything. And all of a sudden she's standing right next to us, but she's like running from this man, and he's all in her face. And she basically is like, "Sir, like, quit following me." She's
but this is like the calm version. I mean,
because
like, like the panic your voice gets in when you're actually scared. Like she had that. Was like, "Get away from me!" Like, "Stop following me!" Like, panic.
Stop! I told you to stop following. And he's this close to her face.
Like, it's fully escalated.
It was our worst nightmare happening in front of us. Yes. Like, and that it's a foot away. We just have a little patio, little divider.
Right.
I'm watching this man literally this girl is backing up into traffic. I'm watching this man fully assault her in the middle of the street. Yeah. He doesn't know her. He's been stalking her for blocks. He's been fully following her. She's like this into oncoming traffic. When I saw him grab her, either way, I was about to be jumping on that shit. Like, she's not getting out of my like line of view because he's been following her.
Every single time, let me just really quickly pipe in. Yeah. Every single time I tell this story, everyone always asks, like, "Are you sure it wasn't like a boyfriend-girlfriend situation?" Like, we can tell you right now, this was not a boyfriend domestic issue. Like, this was a stranger. Everyone's, because like even the you know, they asked too. They're like, the waiter was like, "Are you sure it wasn't like boyfriend girlfriend?" I go,
positive. And either way, it doesn't matter if you're dating or not. If you want someone to get the F away from you, you deserve every right to be like, "Get away from me." And I'm watching this happen, and then once they're in the middle of the street, he puts his hands on her. Because I'm also like, me and Meredith, we try to fly under the radar, and it's really hard.
How many times has our mouths gotten us into trouble?
Too many times
we're confronting people, and then it's like, "Oh my God,
we're the problem." And then all of a sudden it's our problem.
Kind of like when we were in Indy with that crazy guy. Remember we were talking about the guy watch our Indianapolis vlog. We had a crazy man on there, and it's like, we both want to confront, but we're like, what's this guy actually going to do?
How much of a problem is this going to be our problem now? And it's like, but at this point,
it was like
too much. Full reaction of like, it all happened even the argument, it happened in like a split second. 2 seconds. To where it was like our fight or flight, and mine was fight. I'm like, yeah. And when I saw those hands go on her, I jumped up and I was like, "Get your fucking hands off of her!" I'm screaming to where he fully lets go of her, turns around, looks at me and Meredith with the devil's eyes.
He is charging.
Lights were on. Nobody was home. And besides the devil was home, and he's looking at me and Meredith.
Like, even us too. He is not deviating from this.
No. And so as soon as I scream at him, like to where he drops her and turns around and looks at us, she, bless her heart, takes off running for the hills. Like, that was her only only out. She takes off running, and at the same moment that I'm screaming this and he looks at us, I realize in that split second we're about to be absolutely screwed right now too. He's gonna come for us next because it's like
he was scary.
locks, like vision was locked on us.
He pivoted.
I grabbed my
walked.
purse and it was literally mid moment because I didn't know that I thought our waiter was about to deliver our food but it ended up being the manager. But either way, at the same time, not knowing somebody was about to that worked here about to deliver our food, I thought he's looking at us. I had my full hand on my purse. We're going inside because we're 2 feet away from the sidewalk. He just has to put his leg over that little railing and fuck us up. Right. So I grabbed my purse, and then at the same time, it happens to be not our male server, which I was
hoping,
until I saw who it was.
Our girly.
She lays down our food. She's got her earpiece in, the manager of the restaurant, and I literally go, because it all happened, I'm not kidding you guys, in a split second, and I literally go, that man is assaulting that woman. She threw down the food. She had to have jumped over the railing.
Literally.
There's no way she went through the patio, through the outdoors, because I looked to my left after saying it to her, and she was already on the opposite side of the patio, on the sidewalk, full sprint after this guy, because this guy, as soon as I yelled at him, and the girl he was assaulting took off, she's running. He's chasing her. We have the manager lady now chasing him. So it's a 3-person train running around the block, but we can see it through the patio. So I'm running after them, but inside the patio containers. and
because like the way that where we were eating, we could see through the building. So it's like we can see them making a
I know which way she went, and I can see that he is. I thought there's no way he's gonna sell. I thought we're the next target. He's not chasing her.
The craziest part of all of this with the chasing and everything was she is full-blown running, sprinting.
Full sprint.
Instead of him, sprinting after her, it was, this crazy charge where he's not running.
Man on a mission.
Manhunt. I'm power walking, where it was, scary, where I'm you're not even running after her. You're just I will get her.
Yes.
I am walking fast. Where I'm she is running for her entire life, and you're I'm just going to power walk after this bitch.
And let it be known, it is 2:00 in the afternoon. The girl ran into CVS. Yes. They locked the doors behind her, the automatic doors around the corner of the CVS.
Because it's in the city, they have full security at the pharmacies, because people are trying to constantly steal drugs and stuff from there. So they've got full security team in CVS.
Locked the doors behind her, and he
with guards.
Banging on the doors, trying to still get after her. And she's we called the cops are coming, whatever, it is what it is. But I'm sister, I thought I was doing a civil duty right here, because she took it to the next level and totally took care of it for us, and at least she gave us the rundown.
No,
but it was the fact that there was multiple tables around us that had full grown adult men sitting at them with their girlfriends, whatever it was, all around us, and I'm the only person that's alarmed that the equal distance this girl is getting assaulted from me it is from him. Nobody even blinked an eye.
No.
That is my worst fear, is to be fully
and stand up. We
nothing.
Were up,
nothing.
Talking, the girl looking.
The wait staff is carrying, the whole wait staff is what is going on? Yeah. Everybody, the manager jumped over the side of the patio and ran after and called the cops. And it's
these 2 tables just chilling.
Full-grown adult men who could easily triple the size of the guy that's assaulting this woman. And we have to be the ones saying something.
And this is why, we were talking about this, but it's this woman, what you said were true worst nightmare. Where
I'm in the middle of 2:00 in the afternoon, sun is out, million people nearby, all of these people around me. I am screaming for help that this man is assaulting me and coming for me. And nobody blinks an eye.
And it's that was what was exactly helping. This girl is fully backing into traffic screaming help, and no one's helping her.
She'd rather get hit by a car.
Literally, would rather
dead ass.
Get hit by
I would too at that point.
And it's that's why they say to women, and it's I'm sure you guys have maybe seen this TikTok trend where it's girls go up to their boyfriends and it's you're getting hurt in public, what do you yell? And they all yell help. But girls know to yell fire, because when women are getting attacked and yell help, kind of what we just
everybody's first question was, is that her boyfriend? What? Is this just a domestic thing? Does not matter, because it wasn't. Exactly. And it was an emergency for her. Absolutely. Thank God we were there.
No, literally.
Thank God.
My mom was my Stephanie Ann.
If there's one thing I won't do is keep my mouth shut.
No, she goes, my Stephanie Ann of helping people.
Civil
duty.
Honestly, the gold star that goes to the manager, because she took my civil duty to the next level. But seriously, so the
long
one
story
thing
short, if you are getting attacked in public, yell fire, because that makes everybody look in your direction
Yeah,
where you're
screaming
at.
fire, it's like everybody has to pay attention.
Yeah.
Help, it's like, that's her problem.
Oh, they're like, oh, it's her problem. Yeah, exactly.
Which is stupid, but remember it. Because,
Yeah.
like, we had heard that before, and until that moment, I go, that's real.
No, and, like, that's what I talked to my boyfriend about, where I go, Brett, I'm like, you are a 6'5" big dude. For a random girl you're walking behind, I go, to you, I'm like, no one knows
He's
that
the
you're
gentlest
like a gentle
giant.
You're a gentle giant. Nobody knows that.
No.
I go, to that girl that's walking in front of you, she is like, this dude's gonna come after
He's
me.
going, I'm
Where
done.
I go, I'm literally gonna, like, she is thinking of my exit routes. What am I doing? You know, like when we get in our cars and we lock the doors right away and we're looking underneath.
When
you
we
know,
were
like,
walking to that restaurant,
Steph was even like,
there was a man behind us.
Yes.
That he wasn't giving me scary vibes, but he was way too close for comfort, and he was following us for blocks. Where I go, okay, if you want to pass us, pass me, or say excuse me, because at this point you're my shadow, and with my head on a swivel,
Yeah.
I'm making it apparent to him that you're tweaking me out, and I got eyes on you.
well, your mom and you have always been so aware. Like, you guys have totally been aware of any type of, like,
Because if you're not aware, the moment's too late. And
no,
what
but
are we
you
gonna
have
do?
totally
Yes,
made me aware.
You
I
will
used to
never,
not care.
ever.
No, I would be the bitch that gets, like, taken easily.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
on
now
the
I am
phone.
like, I have my keys in between my fingers. I'm walking.
You sit in that
also,
car.
being in Denver totally makes a difference. Like, instead of, like, Little St. John's, we're from a super safe town where nothing ever happens. So it's like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're in a bigger city and it's like, yo, lots of shit's going down.
Better
around
be
me.
safe than sorry.
I'm telling
always
you,
say.
one person that will not ever be kidnapped in their life.
I'm not your girl. I'm not your girl, and it will
No.
never be me. I'm sorry, but like,
No.
and also, if it ever comes to it, we've said it before. Don't ever go to a second location. If
this
I'm
is
in a
a good
park,
one. She just taught me this. Say it.
if you're at like any place, like you're getting your car after Target, but especially putting the groceries away, you need to have your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Because that is a one time, but it's like somebody is like telling you, like, you have to, like, gun to your head even. You got to come with me to a second location. Like, you got to drive me here, do this, whatever. Never go to the second location, because if they're not willing to do something to you in public, they're definitely doing shit to you. If they're not gonna shoot you in the head in public, they're gonna do something worse and then shoot you in the head in private.
Yeah.
So not to go
Where
dark,
it's like,
but
literally,
if-
I would rather be
never
killed now than there.
Never go to a second location. I learned that too, where I'm like, nope, if it's not happening here and now, I will fight for my life here, not in your basement somewhere.
No, because that is the biggest fear. Is like, we are not getting kidnapped.
You're
and
not.
taken.
It's not me. It's not you.
No.
It's not happening today. I'm not your girl. And it's like, and I'm looking out for every other bitch out there.
And one thing we're yelling is fire, baby. One thing we're yelling.
Anyways, so just take that, put it in your back pocket, because
Absolutely.
seriously, it matters.
I think what we really should do, and Brett wasn't wrong, or was it David that was like, we need to take a self-defense class.
I have been
I wish
wanting
I
to do nothing more than to know if somebody came up from behind me. I mean, I know, go for the balls, poke them in the eyes,
Totally.
do whatever. I need to know the exact maneuvers.
Well, one girl, we can even do it, this demonstrator here. This one girl that my uncle used to date, she had taken a self-defense class, and she was also a black belt, and she taught me how to break her wrist. Do you want to learn?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, imagine you're like this, and you're walking down the street, and somebody grabs you. Grab me like this.
Don't do it to me.
I'm not going to hurt you. So, okay, they're grabbing
Grab
right
you.
here, they're grabbing. You open your hand, you reach around
Grab
like
theirs.
this. No, because they're grabbing you. Grab
Yeah.
them. You open your hand, reach around like this, you point your finger at them, and then as hard as you can, boom, it'll break their wrist and they'll let go.
From the leverage of it coming down.
Yeah, because it's
which
like,
we can't really
you're
prove. I'm
grabbing
scared
me.
you're going to do it.
No, I won't hurt you.
I
But
won't
you're
hurt you,
grabbing
baby.
them like this. She said, point your finger like this at them. You have your wrist like this. Theirs
And then
is
just
like this.
slam down on
And then
it?
as hard as you can, take your upper hand and then hit this, and it'll break the wrist and they'll let you go.
Holy shit. And even then, I'm still running for the hills.
No, literally though. Where I go, I hope to God we never have to put these practices in place,
Yeah.
ladies.
But you know what?
You know it. So now let's get into Bachelorettes. We have literally recapped Bachelorette multiple times for you guys now. As you know, we've had 2 episodes that have deleted. However, we're here to tell you our thoughts.
Yes.
But the short version, right?
First off, easy one. We all agree on the outfits that they put Rachel in.
Yep.
Not a fan. Okay, let's dress to the body type.
Side note, though, new info for I was
What?
listening to a podcast, and they were talking about Carey's popping off on on Twitter. Carey, the designer, is popping off because he was saying, like, everyone was hating the trench coat on Tyler's date, right? Everybody was hating.
I mean, everything.
And it's like, well, I think the trench coat was the least of the worries.
That doesn't even ring a bell to me.
But everybody on Twitter was, like, talking about the trench coat.
like in a bad way? I don't even
In a
remember.
bad way. In a bad way. On Tyler's date, remember, on the boardwalk.
Yes.
And he was like, I agree. This outfit was horrendous. He's like, but a lot of times, he's like, one, he's like, not only, like, are we having to, you know, think of the person's style as well. Like, Rachel and Gabby have totally different styles. He's, like, kind of, like, defending himself with also talking about them a little bit, where he's, like, the you know, trench coat was a bad date. But he's, like, when we pack for this stuff and when we plan it, he's like, it's months in advance. And he goes, and when we're sending them with hometowns, you're dealing with different climates, everything. He's like, we sent Rachel with a different outfit to wear to Tyler's date. But then the rain came, and so he's like, Rachel being a good sport, like, wrapped herself up in this trench coat, and then everyone's coming for him. Why did you put Rachel in this trench coat? And he's like, she was doing the best she can. And also, it's like, we're packing for multiple weeks, multiple different locations, different countries.
The trench coat, I agree, where it's like random situation. It's a coat of like whatever climate we're in. But also,
he was also saying, like, Rachel and Gabby have different. He's like, they have very different styles.
Yeah, but we also know what I could tell you right now, something just as simple that would look a hell of a lot better on her.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the back and forth.
And if you have this much time to prepare, it's like you still know what, no matter the climate, what looks good on people's body types. That I'm like, then what's the excuse for every season having the same leather jacket on every single girl? Exactly. That is like literally from when we were in 6th grade.
Yep.
I understand both ways of like, that is a lot to prepare for, a lot to do, but that is your job.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there's one thing everybody every season nitpicks is what are we dressing the bachelorettes in?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
Carey, I get it. You have a hard
job.
That's
one excuse for the millions that you've messed up.
Other thing that what gave me a little bit more empathy towards Carey was the girl that I was listening to used to be a personal stylist, and she's like, you have no idea how hard it is to dress people. She's like, when they have their own concept of style.
Totally.
She's like, because I could be putting them in the most stylish clothes, but if that's not their concept of style, it's like, it doesn't matter what I put you in.
Right.
And you have to accommodate to their style.
I mean, like, imagine.
But it's like, Carey, you could just be making yourself, you know, seem like.
Then somebody else you're easily.
Because I could see Rachel not having as good a style as Gabby. Totally.
Right. And it's like, but you're easily replaceable then. It's like that if I'm the Bachelorette, you're my stylist. Like, I know we're going to bet heads on things, but also either way, you better not be letting me walk out looking like I am, because the shit she was put into, not one person, like that one outfit when they were like getting dressed up to go to the red carpet premiere, and she's wearing a mustard yellow stupid sequin thing. Does not matter in what world and what city and what climate and what person is wearing that saying that's a good idea, and especially on her body type, that I'm just like, nah. I'd rather dress myself at that point.
Yeah, you've convinced me, for sure.
The excuses, I understand it's hard, but then we need to replace you then, because somebody else will take it as being hard and still nail it on the head.
Right, absolutely.
It's bad. It's been bad.
It's been bad.
But hey, you know, we got good cup, bad cup.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be.
We're seeing both sides over here. So, okay, we've covered the clothes. Now let's get into who we have left. So for Gabby, who we have left is Jason, Johnny, and Eric. And for Rachel, who we have left is Avon, Zach, and Tino.
You're so good at the names. I'm like, I need their faces still.
Yeah.
Normally by this time, I know exactly, but I guess we have double.
So there's a lot. It's
but like,
dudes.
either way, I'm like, I really am bad with like the names, but like, I still don't know anybody. Like, some of them, I know, I guess, with their faces better than like even with their names. But like Johnny is John. Is there a Johnny? Was there a John? I'm confused. Like,
well, do you want to start with?
Kick it off.
Do you want to start with Gabby's guys really quickly?
Sure.
Talk about each one and then go to Rachel's.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with Gabby's. Everything up until this point, because I mean, for you guys, this is the first time we've been talking about this every week. But I mean, for you guys, this is our first time. So for Gabby, who I like the best, let me just quickly chronologically put them in order. Jason, Eric, Johnny is my order.
Okay.
Who do you like?
Johnny. He's the funny one, so, right? Or like, you know, he's probably the last one for me as well.
Yeah. And then we have Jason and Eric.
What's the difference?
Jason is the one that's shyer, almost went home because this is too overstimulating.
Oh,
really is going to therapy.
Okay, yes.
And then Eric is the one with the family that has the dad dying of cancer. He's
really
introverted.
Okay, yeah, and them two for me, like, it's one of those random people that like they're the same to me. Well, almost and like similar.
Yes,
like
and
looks.
For me, at least, Johnny's gone. Love Johnny, but he needs one, therapy for his own stuff. And two, it's like he just doesn't seem as much for Gabby as the other ones.
Yeah.
Eric, I really feel like before I wanted it to be Jason all the way. I love Jason. I think he's great. I love really his whole personality.
Yeah.
And, like, how much he's worked on himself also. Like, I love that. You really have gone to therapy.
Yeah.
You've put in the time to really work on yourself.
Was he the one where it was, like, opposites attract?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
He's shy or she's more introverted. And Gabby really thinks that's a con, but I go, for me and my boyfriend, we're the exact same. My boyfriend's super introverted and I'm completely opposite. But it balances each other's out. It was like when we watched couples therapy and it was like, he calms my storm and I wake him up.
Totally.
You know, it's like the balances work. But for Gabby with Jason, it's more of like she's worried about it. She's like, do you think you can be with somebody like me?
She's still in her head of like self-sabotaging. Of like that
because I'm like, the fact that he's more reserved is not a negative.
Right.
Especially for someone that's more outgoing.
As long as you feel like that, as long as she feels like that she can still be her full self around him and he doesn't make her feel bad for that, even if he's a quieter person. Like
and Jason doesn't dumb her down at all.
Totally.
And neither does Brett really. You know, and it's like, and your boyfriend's more reserved as well.
I'm the louder, out of me and him in a room, I'm the loudest person in the room.
Absolutely.
Totally.
100%. But then you have them in their own scenarios and people are like, oh, they're not shy at all. It's like,
right.
Compared to us, though.
I'm like, Adam and Brett, they're not shy.
Reserved.
To everybody else, like, they're more shy.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are Gabby's guys. Hometowns, I think, went great for Gabby. Jason loves his.
Yeah.
Johnny, his family was super cool. Did not, and it's so funny because I listened to that Bachelor podcast and they thought the same thing. They're like, didn't expect Johnny's family to be like they were.
Right, totally.
You know, and like how welcoming they were and calm and cool and collected. Like I just wasn't expecting that. And then we have Eric's family, which obviously, I mean, come on, they made us fall in love with Eric's family. That's why I feel like family shouldn't be involved until the final two.
I agree.
Like, because I mean, with Eric's family, however, I will say with Eric, like, how special, if Eric's with Gabby, how special that you got to capture that on TV and watch your dad literally meet your future wife and, like, get even if Gabby's not it, get all of his final moments on camera where he's meeting someone and talking to you and you're having those
and
sentimental conversations that you wouldn't have normally captured.
And that it immediately evoked multiple like emotions from the family too, where it's like she was a part of that. Yeah. Of like, it is definitely a sensitive emotion that everybody's feeling, and it's a lot at one time of like, and they're finally like him and his mom talking, the whole 9 yards of like, it was, I feel like, a milestone also for the family almost of like definitely like, you know, trauma there. Like,
it's very similar to Madison and Siesta Key, where Madison had a stillborn, but you get to watch all the fun moments of the pregnancy and them celebrating it and everything. Like, where people are like, a lot of times people want witnesses, you know, as weird as it sounds, you want someone to be bear witness to like how much you love your family or see it.
Yeah, the happiness in the moment versus, you know,
just even like remembering it. You get to visually see your dad talking to your future wife, or like even if it's not Gabby,
just seeing
what
how
you would have said,
and that you were fully on like some big like adventure and journey on a TV show of like, you know what I mean, like he got to be a part of it and witness a huge moment in his life that is going to be a turning of the tables.
Well, it's funny because the podcast I listened to, they didn't see the clip I saw. So long time ago, Gabby's first one-on-one with Eric, the very first one-on-one of all, there was a moment where, remember, it didn't seem like totally cohesive. Like, Eric wasn't being very responsive, and then Gabby was leaving. And
something was like clipped between, and we were like, but there was like
something.
We couldn't. They weren't showing us what was the conversation happening.
Right. And then I randomly saw this video on TikTok of somebody zooming in and being like, Eric is still talking. Like, when Gabby gets up, he's still speaking. And it was like, what was their conversation? And I wonder now, after, because like when Gabby then talks about it to Eric, or talks to the camera, she's like, Eric told me about his family during our one-on-one. And she specifically says, on our one-on-one. And I'm listening to the girls, and I'm listening on the podcast, Chatty Broads. They're like, but when did it happen on the one-on-one? Like, why didn't we see it? It must have been during a cocktail hour, during this. And she's like, they're all trying to think of when this conversation.
Like, well, there's only one piece sticking out to where we didn't hear what was said.
Yeah, we can see Eric's mouth moving, but nothing's coming out. Yeah. So I go, but they brought up a great point where they're like, why wouldn't they show that though? They're like, let's not pretend that producers are out to protect anybody. No. They're like, producers are out there to hoe us. So it's like, if that conversation was happening, what would have been the reasoning for not including it? And the only reason I can think of is that the dad actually passed away and maybe Eric was sensitive about it and didn't want it being shown.
Right.
But it's like, at least you did show the other part of it, you know, where it's like, why didn't you show talking to Gabby? But that would make sense of why Gabby got up and walked away and was so upset.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about her family, his family. I bet it was over a lot. Like, and, you know, like when someone talks about how sad their family is, it's like, you can't help but feel sad, especially Gabby. Who's so into her feelings.
Totally.
But it's just interesting listening to them trying to figure it out, and I'm like, I feel like I've already got it figured out.
No, 100%.
Like, he did tell her, we just didn't hear
Yes.
it. So, overall, who do you think is winning, and who do you want to win for Gabby?
I think, I don't want Johnny. I think it's between Eric and Jason.
I think Eric's going to win, but I want Jason to win.
Yeah, I want Jason to win.
I do. And it's like with Gabby and Eric, it's like Gabby was the one that said, like, I'm falling in love with you. She's the only one that said that so far. And she said it to Eric.
And you know, in that moment too, where I'm like, it's one of those things that even both Rachel and Gabby they've at least once acknowledged it on the show of like that, you know, if they're going to be saying this to them, they can't say it to multiple people because we grilled Clayton for this shit, for doing the same.
However, though, Gabby, at least, she was the differentiator, was not falling in love, but in love. Gabby's like, falling in love is totally different than in love.
But also, like, I think their main point too, when Clayton, like, his whole season and everything came to a head, it's not that, like, you know, we can't, everybody acknowledges that, like, his feelings are his feelings.
Yeah.
If he's in love with multiple people, I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, where it's how he went about it. To where you broke the news to us together, and then that you're in love with both of us, you said it as a group. Mm-hmm. You didn't have a private. And the one thing is, like, when you're breaking news and shit like that, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't want to be told, like, devastating news of any sort in front of other people. I want it to be a private conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then on top of that, not only did he do that, but then he broke up with them together as a duo. And it was just, like, the way he went about it.
Right.
I don't agree with your, like, your feeling, you know, necessarily, but those are your feelings, and we don't know what it's like to be the lead of The Bachelor, Bachelorette.
Totally.
But it's the way you go about things. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, I would be being like, am I being a hypocrite? As like Gabby of being like, am I not going to say this to any of the other guys at some point that I also am falling for them or in love with them or sleeping with all of them? But it doesn't matter because either way, like, your journey is your journey, and whether it's right or wrong, but it's also how you handle it and how it affects other people's feelings.
Well, it's like fantasy suites are coming up, and, you know, it's like Eric is, all of them have problems. All of them have problems. Eric is talking to Gabby like, the girl I love, I can't foresee doing that with someone else.
We're not having this conversation again.
And it's so hard because it's like...
So we're all virgins here? Nobody slept with anybody else in the past? Like, I understand that it doesn't feel good. I get it. I would be livid. This is one thing that I would be so jealous about.
Yes.
But it's like, you know what you signed up for. And also at the end of the day, it's like, are we really going to act oblivious to that, like, the person you might be dating who hasn't slept with or dated other people?
I get it. I see both sides, though, because I go,
it's back to back.
Eric, it's like, have you told the other guys you love them? No, you haven't. You've only told me. So then why are you hooking
Why are you even having sex with them?
It's so hard, though, because I see both sides as the lead. It's like, if you were in love with all of them, and like Gabby and Rachel, they might not have vocalized it because of what happened to them, but I'm like, either way, you're probably wanting to foresee each connection, each relationship.
And also that's the whole journey you're on, is to explore all of the connections.
Yeah.
So like, even when they go into hometowns of like, you know, if one person was kind of lacking in the back of like, because even when it comes to Rachel letting Tyler go home right before his hometown, which was heartbreaking, I could understand him being mad of like, then why didn't you just send me home last week? Like, why did I get all to this point and my hopes are up if you were just going to send me home? But also, like, everybody deserves the right to explore it.
Someone made a great point. The date that Tyler and Rachel went on before they went, you know, on their one-on-one, you know, how they do the date and then they do like the date with the parents, which first off, let me point out, anybody that got the date and then the parent date and then that's it was hoed. Anybody that got the parent date and then got to talk afterwards was it.
Yes.
Like Eric, Eric's one-on-one, he's like, let's just go meet my family. Go meet his family, and then it's like they got to go to a cute little pub afterwards, and it's not like a full date. It's like, let's just get a beer. Me and you, let's just go talk
like
about what happened.
Thing.
And I thought it made it better too. Where I'm like,
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. But what was I talking about right before this?
Saying how
it's about the dates. Oh, Tyler. Where Tyler, this was Rachel and Tyler's first date.
I know.
Like, did you realize that, though? I didn't realize it until someone pointed it out.
Well, I knew that,
forgot about... I mean, Tyler has seemed to be such a prevalent point in this season that you're like... It's hard to foresee that they haven't
How
gone
did
on
he
a
even
one-on-one.
get here?
How did he get to hometowns without a one-on-one? So it's like, for Rachel, it's like, this is your first one-on-one with him, and now you're meeting his family?
Totally. And because normally, like, I would be pissed, too, of, like, being like, you should have... What did you think screwed. A date before my parents, if we've never even had a date, what did you think this date was going to give you, like, a revelation of if it wasn't already in your subconscious? You know, of, like, you knew I wasn't fully there. I don't know what you thought this date was going to, like, change completely to where you can tell my parents I'm the one, potentially.
Well, and also the fact that she met so many people. He knew his old bosses, his friends, everything. And they're like... And... The podcast I was listening to made a really good point about Tyler, and it's so spot on.
What is it?
Tyler loved the idea of Rachel.
Yes.
Tyler didn't know Rachel. Tyler loved the idea of Rachel. He got her little bits and pieces. He liked the idea of her. He told his family he went in for Rachel. He was a Rachel fan. So it's like, do you really know Rachel? No, but you have the idea of Rachel. But also on top of that with Tyler, like, what it was, which is funny, because me and her talked about this, obviously. I think we talked about it in the episode, but it was deleted. But, like, how Tyler said to him, like, what he told Rachel, where he said that his dad had said, the next girl you bring home better be your wife. Where that made me think, how many girls are you bringing home, Tyler? Where they were talking about him being the classic summer heartthrob. He works at the Boardwalk, which I did understand. He's a small business owner at the Boardwalk where they were at. He owns one of those small businesses. And they were saying, like, how much you want to bet that Tyler's the hot summer heartthrob? All the girls with their friends come to the Boardwalk in the summer.
Makes every girl feel super special.
He's super kind and nice.
Yes.
And he falls quickly. So he is falling in love with every summer fling that comes to the Boardwalk. And he's the dude that every girl likes. But the second and he's cute. And he's nice.
Yeah.
But the second you get close to him, you're like...
It's too good to be true.
We've all been there where it's like the nice guy is just like, no, something's weird. And it's not like...
too much. Like, to where I'm like, but I don't feel special. You think that you're making me feel special, but it's almost like...
Well, because like when he's professing his love to Rachel...
How?
If I was Rachel, I would be like, one, this is awful because... And we've already said separately that this is producer manipulation number one.
Oh, 10 out of 10 producers.
How much do you want to bet that Rachel was talking to her producers and she's like, I want to break up with Tyler? And the producers were running over to Tyler and they were saying, hey, Rachel's a little on the fence, but if you tell her how
she's
you're
waiting.
feeling...
If she does, she might not move forward if you don't tell her how
you
professing
feel.
Your love.
And he's sitting there saying, let me profess
which is classic. What we've seen in multiple seasons. This one was just like...
extra bad.
Because it was the look in Rachel's face when she looked at the fourth wall. She looked at the camera. Mid him professing his love, where he's not even giving a moment of breath to like let her interject to be like, can we just pause?
That was a red flag as well. They're like, you're so caught up in your own feelings.
You're forcing a scenario.
You can't even realize how
you're trying
acting.
To talk me into it.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if you're sitting there just like word vomiting to try to talk somebody into like, because you can tell with the vibe, you know, that it's
but
like.
But you can't. Because he's so focused on his own feelings. He can't even tell how Rachel is suffering sitting there. Which it's so funny because it's like, let's take this for example. My boyfriend walks in the door. You too. Right away we can tell, did they have a bad day? What's going on? You had a bad day? What's going on?
You could read my...
You can read us. If we came in from a bad day at work, it's like, ooh, something happened. What's going on? What's going on? Your mood shifted.
Yeah.
He is sitting there professing his love, and he can't even tell that she's not into it. Rachel, you clearly don't know her. You clearly don't know her to say...
Not at all.
Your face is reading bad energy. Where I'd be like, hey, what's wrong?
Watching and like also like... exactly. And to where it's like, as you're talking... If you're not seeing glimpses of hope in their eyes or like a smirk of some, like a smile of some sort, and you're still word vomiting over and over, it's like you're not getting any sort of like think about reassurance, even from her facial expressions.
No, like Avon and Tino, when they're remotely saying they're falling in love
with her,
she's
beaming. Where it's like she's looking at you saying, tell me more. She's looking at him saying, please stop talking.
Yes. And he's not.
And then of course it puts her in a bad position thanks to the producers to be like, just stop. Like, because I kept thinking too, his sentence was gonna stop.
And it wasn't.
And it never ended into where she's just like, okay, I mean, it must have been anxiety just absolutely exploding from inside of her.
So bad. Totally.
But then Tino, your family can actually go take a chill pill for a minute.
Which also got some insight from the podcast I listened
Yes?
to about his Facebook page.
Tino's?
Mr. Tino's father's Facebook page.
What is it?
So
I'm already mad.
So this is all conspiracy. Do not take this word for word. Don't quote me on this. But they were saying why they think Tino is not with Rachel is based off his dad's Facebook account. Because there was this guy from a local news place wherever the hell they live.
Is this a spoiler?
No, it's not a spoiler. Okay. I promise. That's all I'm saying. Don't read into it because this is just conspiracy. But the way that his dad, so like this guy from this local news station was saying like, Bachelor's the scum of the earth. Everyone that goes on it should be swallowed up and sucked into a portal. Like, I mean, the guy's like, no, it was out of control where the girls were even like, that dude alone needs some help.
Why do you care so much?
Why do you care?
People that care that much about the Kardashians, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Where like, you hate them so much for what? Can you tell me one thing about them?
Yeah.
Can you tell me one thing about The Bachelor?
Right.
Or how the franchise works? You can't. So
And I'm sorry, how I view Bachelor is how I view fantasy football. It's a guilty pleasure.
Thank you. I go literally a guilty pleasure.
Where it's like, okay, well, I'm not looking at all the dudes playing fantasy football. I'm being like, oh my God.
It's not serious.
That's so cringe. Every dude that watches fantasy football should be swallowed up into a portal and never to exist.
It's really not that deep,
It's
and that's
weird.
why we're into it, because it's not that deep. It's something fun to give a shit about.
Absolutely. It's a guilty pleasure, so chill out. But any hooser. The dad was like almost like giving like positive vibes, but like the way that he was saying, he's like, you know, like we've never watched the show, but our boy Tino is on the show, and it's like a little fun never hurts. But like the way he was responding to the people, they're like the girls I was listening to talking about, they're like the way he's responding doesn't seem like he has a daughter-in-law that is the Bachelorette. They're like the way it wasn't he was knocking it, but just like they're like the way he's talking doesn't seem like they're together.
Something that's like, you know, sticking up for something, or like that's like
like it was
affecting you personally at this moment.
And also like point they brought up, which I thought was interesting, with like where Tino doesn't really know his family, and his family doesn't really know Tino. Where they're like, you have such a unrealistic expectation of your family, where it's like, how do you know they're not like this? Based off your dad's Facebook account alone, you can tell your dad is not the most understanding person. Where it's like
not warm and fuzzy by any means.
Where it's like, you clearly don't. And for him to walk away from the hometown to tell Rachel they adored you.
You're going to get grilled on questions, sure, you know, and it's like, I would be crying at any of these, even if they were probably nice about the way they were asking the questions, but it's still like, no, for you to like grill somebody like that, and to where it's like, I agreed with Rachel, where she, by the end of it, is like, it does not matter how I answered the questions.
No, yeah.
Or how I could be the best person in the world and answer everything perfectly, and they still would not have me or accept me, and I agree with that.
That's why Rachel wasn't stopping tears thinking it's personal. Because Rachel knows.
Yeah.
You know, like, think about every other time Rachel felt insecure. She's crying, she's sobbing, she's upset. She's realizing, I could be the perfect human being, and it's not me.
And that is a tough pill to swallow, but at that point, it's just kind of like, I'm sorry for whatever the other people are going through. You know, to where you feel like a complete stranger coming in the door. Your son chose to come on this show.
Yes.
I did not force him to do this. I was a bachelorette and myself. I made my own decision. He chose. He owes to you as a family. I don't owe you guys anything. It's like, he chose to come on it. You should be grilling him about this process and hating this whole scenario, not me. I didn't beg him to come on.
No.
It just happened to work out that I like him, and I wanted to meet who he's close to.
Right. And it's like, I feel like Tino...
And there's another time and place for this conversation.
Yeah. And like, how we view Tino, just with Tino. And then as soon as he's around his dad... Did you see the shift where it's like, yeah, all these other dudes are out here to like play the game, but they striked out. I was in it for like, where it's like, you don't talk like that except for in front of your dad. And it's like, yeah, all these other dudes were striking out. I'm here for the where I go. You don't talk like that with Rachel. But the second you're in front of your dad, it's like, I got to prove myself. And it's like, if you don't feel like you are enough for your parents, your significant other will never be.
100%.
It's like, if your parents don't think, hey, you're enough, and you know, like, I trust what you're bringing to the table. I trust the girl you're bringing home. It's like, if Tino is having to compensate for his dad, and because the second as soon as he started talking about that, his dad was like, yeah, for sure, my son's number one. You know, like he's like striking out every other dude. That's the only moment his dad was like, yeah, I'm bored. You know, so I'm like, you clearly feel like you have to put on a different persona for your family, and clearly you don't know them well enough to be like,
I would have
Rachel.
nipped that shit right in the butt.
Well,
And like, we can definitely, if this comes forward of like we can have the serious convos now, but like definitely with some grace to them. And like, it's blanket statements that we're covering. You know, you can cover your things, but like, don't grill her when it's like, be on your best behavior right now. One, we're on national TV. Two, you just met her. If she had cheated on me, if she had been wronging me and you want to give her a hard time, sure, go ahead. Why do you want back into the family? Shit like that. But I'm like, you're just meeting her.
Well, that's
I signed up.
It's like, really where the problem lies is not with Rachel and is with the show.
And then right afterwards, like, for Tino to be telling her, like, no, my family loved you.
Adored,
and she
adored.
And she's like, no, I'm still about to be in tears. like that is not being adored. And right then, if I was him, I'm sorry, I would stand up, walk back in the house and be like, apologize to her right the fuck now.
Well, Tino isn't like that with his family.
Oh, no.
Because I thought the same thing. I would have pulled my family aside and be like, hey, I understand what you feel for me being on this show, but I really care about this person and I need you all to be like giving her some grace. Tino could have said that, but he didn't. And why not? Tino was getting grilled, not like he thought he was. Tino was seeing what he didn't think was going to happen, but Tino knows he doesn't have enough respect out of his parents, and his parents don't respect him enough where he can stand up to them.
Totally, 100%.
Like, where it's like, if that was me and you, we are close enough with our families to be like, you do not treat somebody I care about like that.
Them to where they're, especially to where they're in tears, I'm like, then you're disrespecting me.
No, yeah.
You're embarrassing me.
You have every opportunity to stick up for your plus one, your person. You have every opportunity, and you chose not to.
It's like Brandon's family being like, I would we're a family of 4, and I'd love to open it up to 5.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Now that feels like a warm
Avon's plus one, or Avon's hometown, was a perfect explanation or a perfect display of how to ask the hard questions without being rude. Mm-hmm. His dad was saying, there's 3 other people here.
She answered him perfectly, too, of like, she didn't even when he was like saying a long tangent of like, do you, Rachel, take him as this, and this? And it like direct questions, and she doesn't say, yeah, but she says, my relationship is special. It's like she took it a whole other direction almost. Like, you know, where she kind of twisted the question to a perfect way of like,
well, and she
I'm
was
not agreeing
honest.
or disagreeing, but here's my honest answer of this way, but I'm not saying a yes or a no as in like, no, I don't see him, but I also am not going to promise you, but here's how I feel about him. And it's kind of just like, you just twisted it in a different direction, but as she should, where he was even like, yeah, she gave me good feedback.
Because when he said, like, are you 100%? It's Avon. She goes, can I tell you right now it's 100%? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
Exactly, right there.
And she's like, no, I can't.
It's just,
like,
right now,
what I can tell you is my relationship with Avon. Am I promising you right now that he's the one? No. I can't tell you that 100%, but I can tell you what I have with your son.
And in those moments, you kind of have to beat around the bush.
Yeah, for real.
It's like you are saying the honest truth of, like, how you feel about them, but I'm not going to give you a direct answer right now.
And that's why we always go back to the point of there should not be 4 families introduced at hometowns. There should be 2.
When at this point, we don't even know anybody.
Like, we don't. Tyler, this is your first date. This is your first date. Like, does anybody not find that appalling? This is your first date and you're meeting your family?
I find it appalling.
I find it appalling. And also, like, for Rachel with Tyler's, it's like meeting his cousins and family and background and bosses. And it's like, if that was me, I'd be like, oh my God, overstimulation. There's so many people. Like,
and
what
I don't even know you.
I don't even know you.
Stranger.
And I'm about to break up with you.
So, my God, you guys. At the end of the day, whoever they end up with, it's not going to be forever. I could tell you that right now. I mean, I've really tried to be like a positive Sally of people who they end up with, and I'm like, nah, it's probably not going to be it for a while. Like, they're not.
Right.
I hope so. I hope for them. But
and also, really quickly, I would like it to be, I wish it could be switched from an engagement to I choose you.
Well, Colin did that. You can do that.
But it's like, that's not the mindset.
I don't give a shit.
Right.
I would be like, from the start, unless all of a sudden
like, I feel like
the
the mindset shifts from when you're a contestant to when you're the Bachelorette.
Right.
I feel like Gabby and Rachel would have been totally fine
because they did it the other end
as a contestant and just be like, we're going to be together. Like Susie. They would have been fine with that, but when you're in the shoes, there's such this expectation
and that's how it's always been since the beginning of Bachelor, is that it ends in an engagement.
Right, but with Jason, you know,
but you do have an option.
Jason and Johnny being like, I'm not ready for marriage.
Yes.
And we're all like, how can
I am not alarmed.
Bitch, it's been 2 months, not even.
I'm thankful.
That's a smart move. I'm not ready to
If anything, I think their relationship would prosper more and be way more better off in the long run. long run if they didn't get engaged.
Well, especially considering the fact that, like, a lot of times you hear, this engagement is my only engagement. I will not be getting engaged again. So
then
it's like,
why are you doing it?
So then why are you trying to force a wedding in 2 months where it's like, I feel like that should be changed, where it's like, it's not an engagement.
I mean, think of Love Island. First of all, these people are actually living together for months, day in, day out.
Yes,
and they
sleeping in beds together.
And half the time,
it
fully living to where you see what it's like to live with somebody. Fully living. And it's like, and even then, half the time they only leave as just being a couple. Not even half the time fully girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yes.
And those relationships going, Molly May and Tommy Fury.
Yes,
dating, and they're still together, and they're going to get married on their own terms.
That's what I'm saying. Where it's
and
like,
those are, in that show format, they are spending every single second and day together.
Exactly.
Bachelor, they're only
like 4 hours
together. 4
together.
hours total out of the season that they are spending one-on-one time.
Exactly. So that's why I'm
Why
saying.
Why are we acting?
And it's like
when they're only a few years older in between that age range than Love Island is.
Yes, and we're looking at Jason being like, Jason, how could you not be ready to be married?
We're going to throw 30 single dudes, gorgeous men, into a room and say, all of you are ready to propose to this one girl.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Not everybody is on that path right now.
No, and it's like, sure, you could maybe consider yourself there, but it's
you
like,
can be in love with them does not mean we're in love with our boyfriends, and I'm not saying I need to be married tomorrow.
Exactly.
We're going to get married.
Eventually.
But we're living our lives.
First date, and you were thinking in 2 weeks we're getting married.
I would just want Bachelor in Paradise yesterday.
No shit.
I mean, shit's gonna hit the fan.
Dude, Zachary Reality, which we've had on our podcast before, he came up with the idea. I saw him talk about it on TikTok.
What is it?
Bachelor Real, where all the people that have been from Bachelor Nation date in real life. You know, like
what do you mean?
Okay, like imagine, like, have you ever heard of the MTV show The Real? Where it's like it's reality, but it's real life. So like imagine if there was a show called Bachelor the Real, where it's all the people that are in Bachelor Nation. Think about
Paradise.
But no, in real life.
So like basically just like CSK following them around, but as they're dating in real life.
Exactly, and like pick a city where there's lots of Bachelor people. Denver. San Diego, Chicago,
totally,
where there's a lot of Bachelor people from that.
The reality of just like
being a Bachelor Nation dating in real life. What are they going through? And they all obviously
not just put onto an island, but of like their actual dating.
And, like,
I love that.
Dating normal people, but also it's like going to the Bachelor Nation hangouts, going to the PR parties, following them through that. Who Bachelor Nation is dating within Bachelor Nation?
The lines that they're putting out, like CSK, and like competition there.
Like think about how many people at Bachelor Nation date each other. Other people dating each other, them dating random people.
And we only get a small nugget of that with Paradise.
Yeah.
And that's still confined.
So it's like, what if you went to San Diego? There's about, 30 people from Bachelor Nation that live in California, live in San Diego, following their lives and how they connect with people. That would be a great show.
I love that shit. Zachary Reality is on
to something. You know it.
Well, my God.
Well, hopefully we will definitely be recapping the finale, people, that's coming up in the next few weeks.
Yep.
And Fantasy Suites are two weeks.
Yeah.
So we've got the first Fantasy Suites, which I don't think it's like Gabby's and then Rachel's. I think they're mixed.
Yeah.
I think it's going to show both of theirs each episode. But instead of the finale being 2 parts, it's the Fantasy Suites are 2 parts. Which I go, that means shit's hitting the fan.
I literally can't wait.
That's where Fantasy Suites are always where shit goes down.
100%.
Okay.
All right, Stitches, that is a wrap on this week's episode of We Want Gossip with Meredith and Steph. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review. We also have a couple vlogs coming out. I'll try to throw together the Chicago one. We'll see what that is. Traverse City, though, with Tess. We had a little girls' weekend the other day. That's going to be so fun. It's I'm halfway through the vlog editing right now, and it's so fun, so funny. So that'll be coming out. Hopefully this episode doesn't get deleted.
Yep, we can hope so. And we will see you, Stitches, next week for another gossip update. Okay, that was too extra.
No, it was perfect because you held it. It's like, all right, Stitches. Wait, blah, blah, blah.
No problem.
Okay, we have a gossip update.